Dark Sister and Blackfire,
Yeah.
I've been waiting to see them, and I've seen them in the trailers now, and they're amazing. Especially, I have to say, Blackfire. Something about it it feels iconic instantly.
Yeah, great.
But the Swedish swordsmith Peter Johnsson is the one who did it. How did you get him to be involved? Because he is legendary.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a bit of a sword nerd myself, and so I was aware of him from just from reading around the internet and the work that he had done with museums and restorations and things like that. And I just saw him as this really intuitive designer, and I knew that he made beautiful work, and I wanted those two particular weapons to be iconic, of course, but also to look like real tools. Yeah. So I approached him and I sort of said, "Hey, I'm this guy. I have this crazy request," before anybody knew anything about the show, and I have this crazy project for you if you're willing to take it on. And lucky for me, he leapt all over it and was really interested in it, and it just became this sort of ongoing kind of friendship, the professional friendship that we have, and we chit chat by email kind of all the time, and he's very excited to see his work put out there in a big way, and I'm really proud of the work that he did. It's really I think it is iconic. I think it's amazing.
I wanted to ask you, you are more an Eustace guy, a Muslim guy, or a Moncton guy, because you have some difference with George about what person did you choose. At the end, you are choosing more the Muslim side or the Eustace Moncton side.
Well, I mean,
50-50?
I think the fun of this story is getting to pick your narrative path through all of the conflicting accounts that have gone on, and I think often you'll see that the truth lies somewhere in the middle of what they've all talked about. I mean, we sort of took the approach that Fire and Blood was written much like the Bible was written, particularly the Gospels, where many years after the death of Christ, everybody's going back and trying to piece together this incredible story that happened, but they're relying themselves on accounts drawn from the period. I mean, Mushroom says he was there, but was he really there? We don't know. So I think that's the fun of it, and I've said, whereas most adaptations are in natural conflict with their source material, because it's like, well, you have Lord of the Rings and you have Tom Bombadil, and then you have the adaptation, and it's like, well, how are you faithful to Lord of the Rings and still do you put Tom Bombadil in? This, I think, they're companion pieces. So I think the book Fire and Blood exists as a companion to the show exists as a companion to Fire and Blood. If you've read the book, the show enriches your experience of the book. If you've seen the show first and you go back and read the book, it enhances your experience of watching the show. And I think that's an exciting place to be, because I think people can go into this sort of saying, oh, one enriches the other, instead of saying they're in conflict with one another.
Last question on a similar theme. We had the three chroniclers of Fire and Blood, of the Dance of the Dragons, Eustace and Mushroom, as you mentioned. I know we're not cast properly, but are there going to be any nods, dwarven gesture passing in the background or anything like that?
Yes.
Great.